reflexo atrás.
And we are live again. Hello, hello, everyone. I'm Fernanda from the Rose Meditation, and I have Nuno from the Rose Meditation as well here.
Yay.
Again, hello, Nuno. How are you?
I'm very good. And you?
Very, very good. Thank you. Another day, another podcast, and today we're going to continue our subject about communication.
Ooh.
It's a good one, it's an important one, and I'm sure everyone can use some tips to improve their communication. I need some improvements, you need, and everyone needs. So let's go for it. So sometimes we have some troubles communicating. Like, I need to tell you something. It can be in a personal matter or a professional matter. Since we are married, we work together. And sometimes there are some noises between our communication, and it's completely natural, completely normal. And our objective is to share some tips in order to improve our communication. I'm going to say the first one, and then you can continue.
Let's do that.
The first thing, my opinion, that we should care about when we think about a better communication is to avoid that paradigm that I'm responsible for what I say, not for what you are going to understand. This is a statement like everyone says. A lot of people says that.
Yeah.
No, I'm responsible for what I say. What you understand is your problem. But in fact, if you stop to think, are you sure? Like, you're not worried with what other people are going to think of what you said, even though if it's not what you wanted to communicate at first. So when I'm gonna share something, or when I'm going to give a class or a course, or you find in an interview or in just a chat, I'm always worried with other people are going to understand of what I am saying, because this, if I want to communicate well, I have to be worried about that. What do you think about it? And if you have some other tips about it?
Yes, I totally agree. Imagine we have a tendency to, let's say it, adapt our speech to the audience. Okay, so for example, if I'm talking with kids, I need to adapt my language to their language skills. If I'm talking with people from my profession, I can use specific terms. If I'm outside of that knowledge, I'm probably need to translate or to explain the technical words. So if we do that normally, when the subject is more sensible, or it requires more attention, it's also true. So we need to measure, we need to choose the best words to express ourselves. And if we don't find the best words, say it. Like, I'm having a hard time with this, and I cannot find better words to express this by using this. And then you share. You're not being fragile. You're just being completely honest, saying, I'm having a hard time to adapt this point of view to other words. And then say it. Put some context when you need to express yourself. So sometimes this is a tip. When you create context to express yourself, you're not avoiding conflict just to be kind of looking good in a discussion. No, you're completely transparent and honest. Okay? Or something that sometimes we do it as a couple, saying, this is hard for me to express myself about this or that, but I have to share it. And then you share it. You're not just preparing the bomb that's not it. It is preparing the audience for your opinion.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and at the same time, also say, what is your intention with that? It is just sharing. You want to hear someone's opinion, so you like to hear what is the other's point of view. So it depends. So say it. Like, oh, I'm feeling this regarding that. What is your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
Ask. Don't put more the words into the subject and not just trying to wait to see if the other gives their opinion. Ask for the opinion. And I think when we worked in and lived in mostly in New York, the city taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid of asking why or why not, why yes. People will answer.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a big problem asking,
Mm-hmm.
putting things into context. That will be like my main tip for that.
Don't assume things.
Don't assume things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And something very graphic and basic and simple, but at the same time that can help us a lot. Imagine like we are here just in front of each other, and I have a 9 on the floor facing me, and I say, no, this is a 9. And you, from your point of view, you're gonna say, no, it's a 6 because it's
Two different points of view.
yeah, but it's the opposite. So
Yeah.
for me, it's a 9. For Nuno, it's a 6. And we are both right because we have different points of view. So from my point of view, it's a 9. But for Nuno, it's a 6. And we are both right. Like, it's not gonna, we're not gonna have a common point if we can't be able to understand the other person's point of view. So if you can put yourself in the other person's point of view, because if I go by Nuno's side, I'm gonna say, oh, of course, it is a 6.
I think we can demonstrate that.
Yes.
So for you, it's a 9.
Yeah.
Let me just stay there.
Okay.
And I'll just go around.
It's a 9.
It is a 9. See, you just go around the table and it's a 9. Okay?
It is.
But if we both go, you don't need to. But if we both go to the other side,
we're gonna find a 6.
We're gonna find a 6.
That's it. And it happens a lot because from my point of view, this kind of thing, it's a 9. And this lack or this bad communication happens a lot. So if you learn to try to understand the other person's point of view, for example, I go somewhere and I say, oh, this is too expensive. For me, it can be too expensive. But if Nuno lives in New York, he's going to say, no, it's so cheap. You see? So if we go for a coffee here at Porto, and if I pay 2 or 3 euros in a coffee, I'm going to say, ooh, what an expensive coffee. And then it's going to say, oh, it's so cheap because in New York, you pay $8 a coffee.
Yeah.
So the other person's points of view, the other person's context matter a lot. So let's try to understand other people's context before doing anything else.
Yes.
What else? No.
I just think to complement your opinion or the thing that you want to say it out loud is not the only truth. As if you were saying the 6 and the 9, the number on the floor, for example. So when you rephrase to take out this absolute truth into an opinion, into a point of view, or into a feeling, I'm feeling this because of that, it just brings it softens the communication because you're not saying something, this is blue, this is a 6. No, you're just, from this point of view, from my perspective, from my experience,
my context,
this is what I see. it is not just adding more words. It is really to put yourself into one's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
one's experience, one opinion, and that's really good to say it. Never an absolute truth. The world is always changing. When we were young, 20 years ago, our truth was different,
Yes, completely. And here
right?
we are.
Uh-huh. You know that exercise that sometimes we do with some mentorees, that the problem, how much that is a problem in Fernanda's today, in 6 months, or in 2 years.
Exactly.
You put time, a timetable there, and then say, yeah, in 2 years, this won't be a problem. This will be just, probably I will forget
Yeah.
about what happened 2 years ago, so small. So that means it is not that important.
Mhm.
Important things you remember 2 years later.
Yeah.
Small things probably you don't. And this is another interesting technique to train how important, or uh, how much you need to put into defend your point of view,
Mhm.
if it doesn't matter in 2 years' time.
Yeah, if you can put it in perspective, right? So if
Indeed.
it's not important in 2 years, probably it's not that important. It doesn't worth the nights of bad sleep that you're going to have, or a good night of sleep that you're gonna lose, and it's not gonna matter at all. So it's a good point of view. But Nuno, many times we let our emotions interfere in our communication. If you say something to me and for any reason it hits me hard, I'm gonna, if I just answer back just because we are there and I'm gonna answer you back, it's gonna be, I'm gonna beat you hard back just because I felt something, even though it was not your intention. So the emotions in the communication, they add a layer, a big layer, like a veil here, that is going to interfere in what one says and in what the other understands. I think we could go a little bit this way for the next few minutes, saying that how our methodology, this most ancient way to train, are going to help us communicating better, because one of the things that we do is to work in those communications.
Yeah.
You want to develop the subject?
I can, yes, yes. So one of the very good effect of our classes is the emotional regulation that happens immediately. One of the things is to be present. So training mindfulness in the true definition of mindfulness, being here and now, helps you to regulate your emotions, which is great. Okay. Also, the mental clarity of training continuous focus for example, 1 hour, also helps to understand the emotion, deal with the emotion, and use time, because sometimes you just need 5 minutes to digest,
to not explode.
and then to take an action. Okay. And that sensibility, that skill that we develop of dealing with your emotions, understanding the emotions, and use the time to settle down the dust, to be more concise on your communication. The practice is where you train to regulate that. Doing nothing doesn't work. Okay, sometimes I already shared in a few other podcasts, when I'm really pissed off, I need 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours to digest, to get out of that emotional storm, so I can be more reasonable in my communication. But
Mm-hmm.
that's my way, my personal way of
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for big things, very important things that I need that time. Sometimes I just need to take a pause. I need to breathe. I need to focus. I need to train my mental stability. Okay, so I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to use these words. I'm going to use this strategy. I'm going to express myself in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of times, because instead of just exploding back or just saying back what you didn't like, you think before you say something, you think, okay, what do I want to achieve in this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
And when you have this clarity, you're going to be not just talking, you are going to be communicating,
Yes.
because uh, you can focus on the problem or in the solution. So, for example, I want to go out today to see my friends, our friends. So I want to, and I'm gonna, okay, no, no, what are we going to do tonight? And you're gonna say, you know what? I'm so tired. I need to rest today. And I'm gonna be frustrated because I didn't communicate well. There are a lot of ways of communicating. I could say, no, no, you know what about going out with our friends tonight? I don't see them for a long time. And I think I could use this time. And then you can say, oh, that's a good idea. Let's go. Or even, you know what? I'm too tired. Do you mind going by yourself? And I can say, oh, it's okay. Or I would like you to go. And you know what? If you say your feelings, if you understand your feelings, I'm feeling alone. So for me, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
important to go out with the friends tonight because I'm feeling alone. And you are feeling tired. Like we feel a lot of things together and it's a mess. But if we are able to stop, understand what's the emotion behind and why I want to do that or why you want to do the other thing, and we can meet at the at some point, but communicating
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
It's not complicated, but it's not easy at the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yes.
It's you have to work on it, but it's sometimes we get confused between it's hard with it requires work, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same thing. If something is hard, even though you put a lot of work in it, you're not going to achieve. But sometimes you need to put a lot of work, but that's all. And I think this is the case.
Yes,
You
yes.
need to work. I need to understand my feelings. I'm feeling alone. I want to be with friends. You feel tired because you had a crazy week. They are both valid. When I express that I feel alone, you know I'm feeling alone because I told you that.
Yeah.
And you're going to say, I'm tired. So, okay, what's the best solution? Let's create a good solution together. And I think this is what's going to work the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
most.
If we could put that great example that you just gave into words, is use diplomacy in interpersonal relationships,
Mm,
which is I have this, and then as an open question, but it never ends on the first answer from the
mm.
other. You say, what are you going to do tonight? If you have in your mind, hoping that the other just suggests exactly what you wanted, you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to say, he never wants to come with me.
But it happens a
It
lot.
happens a lot, but you put the wrong words. The question is not, what are we going to do tonight?
Mm.
Is, we have friends in town, I miss them, and I feel kind of alone these last days. I think it's a great opportunity to go out. Should we go?
Yeah, it's completely different.
But then, oh, but I'm tired. Mind of going by myself? As you said, you were building a solution together. And for example, if I'm the one that was tired, oh, this is so important for her. Yeah, let's go together.
Even though we come back a little bit earlier because I'm tired.
Yeah. See, it is a negotiation. Yes, but it's an exercise of diplomacy to build a collaborative solution. And I know that we use diplomacy a lot in the political thing. Take it out from the political thing and use it, one-on-one. You and your family, you with your colleagues. And it's a great soft skill to develop, but you need to have that mental clarity. So if you don't have a training like we do it in the blue floor, it will be very hard. Very, very hard to work diplomacy without your mental workout that we do in our classes. Because it brings all that noise of those instabilities of the mind, of your emotions, just everything settles down. It's not to calm you down. Don't is not the thing. Is to be fully aware of what you are, what you're feeling, and most of the times we work with intention. Yeah, you're working flexibility with which intention? Why do you want to touch with your forehead on your knee? And then you think about it, and then intention becomes one of the most important elements to your decision making. What is my intention? God damn, no, nobody asked me that since this class. Why? Yeah, what is my intention? And then you start to think. And so the same thing with conversations, meaning communication. What is my intention of reaching out to Fernanda and asking this?
Exactly.
See, this is very. It seems subtle, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's very practical. Is train, do your mental workout, do integrated with like body movement and all of that. It just builds a stability of your body and mind, and then suddenly you improve your communication skills, and then you start to do. You have less conflicts in life, and what is happening? You're working out that thing, those soft skills, which are great for today's world, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Okay, no, I think that's it for today. I think we brought a lot of thoughts and food for the thoughts. And if you don't believe me, come try 14 days for free, no credit card required, anything. If you have any doubt, call us, send us a message, send us an email, an Instagram message, anything. We're going to reach out to you. And I hope to see you in classes very, very soon. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. And you can see if it works for you or not. Have a mindful week. See you next week. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye-bye.